If you have been waiting for the right time to start something, then this is your sign. I'm going to show you the 8 trends that are completely reshaping the world of business building for startups, solo founders, entrepreneurs, freelancers, creators, and how you can use them to your advantage today. In 2025 alone, over 50 million small businesses were launched. People are actively choosing to buy from creators, founders, freelancers, and small businesses. And one-person businesses are now generating over $1.7 trillion of revenue a year. Trend forecasts for 2026 already show a growth in small businesses, solo founders, startups, and do not even get me started on the creator economy. We are in the most perfect sweet spot in history to launch and grow a business for less risk, less money, and less time. Proper systems plus democratized access to tools and technology mean that we can now achieve way more than ever before for far less if you know how to. I've also already built out the systems that support those trends, so head to the link in the description and grab your system setups for completely free. Whether you are planning on starting something, have already started something you're trying to grow, or are just looking for a bit of New Year inspiration, this video is going to get you set up properly. Let's dive right in with something everyone is going to be making 2026 about, which is actually a trend that's not as important as everything else we've got going on. And that is obviously that AI is going nowhere in the next year. In fact, in 2026, it is going to be in most things that you touch. Right now, tools like ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity are being used in about 70% of admin tasks. They're also utilized in about 45% of all of our insight gathering and a ton of content generation. But that end segment, that content generation, that creativity sap is going to be completely turned on its head in the next year. 2025 felt like a year when everyone was asking the question, what if AI just did everything for me? And that was both from people asking that question concerned that AI was going to take their jobs, and from people asking that question to see if they could get a quick get around in terms of creative design, all of the generative content. The result from this was sometimes good and sometimes not so good. I myself saw a ton of similar content, just repeated, regurgitated, got a lot of voiceless brands, and to be honest, quite a lot of incorrect information. 2026 is going to be the time that we take and learn from this for some people. I can't guarantee that there still won't be this complete overwhelm of AI slop, but for people starting or growing something by themselves for less time and money, AI is going to be utilized for speed, scalability, and to complement already built systems. If you're a solo founder, a creator, a freelancer, AI is all about how you get more done without working more hours, hiring a team, or spending more money. It works alongside scalable systems to make more space for the human stuff that actually grows a business. The AI overload is going to continue in 2026, but how you use it is what will set you apart. I've actually done an entire video on this, so check that out and try not to fall into the AI replacing everything trap. So now we've addressed the one that everyone gets stuck on, which isn't actually as important as the rest of the ones in this video. Let's look at a trend that is incredibly interesting, not only for creators and founders, but also freelancers and people who are wanting to monetize their skill in the next year. Delivering service and delivering value has changed monumentally. In the last year, we have seen this state of huge agencies owning every single RFP to a complete unbundling of services. Agencies are both expensive and quite bloated. Companies, teams, and individuals don't actually want this bloat, and they definitely don't want the huge costs and the long contracts that come with working with agencies. They actually want to hone in on specific skills and talents that they genuinely need for their business and do it in a sustainable, scalable way. That's why 2026 is the best year to go solo. This trend from big agency and big team to individual experts and outsourcing is something that has really ramped up in the last 6 months. Not only does it de-risk your business, but it also means that you can engage directly with thought leaders, experts, and specific niches, which is where we're seeing true growth come for companies. This shift means that there's a huge gap in the market for both specific skill sets and individual experts. And this trend is working both ways. If you are a big brand, you are looking out for these individual experts to complement your big teams. And if you are a small brand, you are no longer looking to outsource in an entirety to an agency in one. You are again looking for specific skill sets that can be built into your operations and systems sustainably. If you have been thinking about going out on your own or doing something on the side, 2026 is the perfect year to do this. Positioning yourself properly as an expert for less risk and less cost that big brands and small brands alike have ever seen is a great way to monetize your skill set. In fact, I've done an entire video on how you can take your skills and turn them into revenue. And I also have a free system in that video, and I'll drop it into the link of this description as well, that helps you in building out your pricing, your offer, and pitching to clients. Now, these next 3 trends are all about social and content. And social content especially is having a complete renaissance in 2026. Social and content in the last 10 years has gone through huge waves of disruption, from mummy bloggers to individual influencers with thousands of followers, all the way to big brands getting involved in memes and inserting themselves in social. We're really coming out of the other end of this onslaught exhausted. Everyone's experiencing a bit of social burnout. This has already started to hit in 2025, where we've seen a rise of dumb phones, cabins in the woods where you can disconnect, and companies like Brick enabling us to really switch off from this constant overload. So the first trend within social and content is that focus is going to beat frequency. In 2026, less content will actually become more valuable. The volume approach from the last few years of daily posting, consistent reels is completely aging out. There are so many millions of pieces of content posted every day that people now just want clarity, depth, intentionality over that sheer overwhelm. Focusing on fewer, higher value content pieces is a huge trend for the next year. And in the same vein, we are seeing short form peaking. It's great for grabbing people's attention, but for how long? It is too easy to scroll past, to think of the next one, to not even notice who is part of that piece of content, and to just see the same version of each piece of content constantly means you don't resonate with anything and anchor to one brand or one person. In 2026, long form formats are going to be the focus for creators, startups, founders, anyone looking to build a real audience that actually engages with them. And this doesn't just have to be video content. We've seen long-form content like newsletters, like podcasts, like blogs have a resurgence again. We've also seen things like print come back into vogue. People are craving deeper connection, not just in real life, but also with what they consume. Longer formats and more time spent with your audience is how we grow deep understanding and trust. It's a huge opportunity for small brands, startups, creators, founders to really engage with people and build your business from focus and value. And that really leads into the third trend that we're seeing with social and content. And it's something that you might have noticed if you are existing in that space. In the last couple of months, Beehive, Circle, Substack, they've all released additional features. And these features are everything from hosting video content, having live feeds, hosting communities, all in one product. And that is because they understand that a huge trend for 2026 is all about where your audience is living and owned audiences. Platforms change, algorithms change. Lord knows what Elon will wake up tomorrow and do. But having ownership of where you are hosting your content is going to be so important moving into the next year. This trend is going to be implemented in the fact that the way we measure success will completely change. Gone are the days of chasing the virality video views. 2026 is all about owned and access, so smaller numbers, deeper connection, proper access. I've done a whole video on how views don't matter and how you need to get away from these vanity metrics in 2026 if you want to be successful. So the next trend that we should really be capitalizing on the opportunity for next year is linked to the ones we've already spoken about around AI and social. And it's all about the human connection. In 2026, we are going to see even more of a shift from people trusting people over logos, small over big brands. In this world of ultimate connection, where we are technically more able to connect than ever, we are feeling even more disconnected from each other. People want to hear from, talk to, and trust people. Literal people. Founder visibility, personal branding, employee-led content, these things are all going to be at the forefront of everyone's growth strategies for the next year. Human-first distribution strategies are what is going to move the needle in starting or building a business. And the big brands already know this. They've moved on from working with influencers to collabing with influencers to now having these really embedded brand ambassadors to almost make people forget that there's a big company behind them. But we have the edge with this trend. If you are a small business, if you are a startup, if you are a founder, if you are a freelancer, a creator, your story, your voice, your personality is your huge selling point. Doubling down on this, being vulnerable, talking to people directly is a huge growth strategy for you to implement that the big brands just can't copy. This trend has really heightened in the last couple of months, and we are going to see this grow even more, not just because of the trust, but because genuinely with such an amount of AI going on in our lives, there will be people who are completely shirking it altogether and moving as far away from anything that even feels like AI as possible. And that leads us directly into this next trend, which is super important, and I will probably talk about every single year. If you've been part of this channel since I started, it's been just over a year. And last year, I did my trends for 2025. And the main trend was all about community. Community isn't going anywhere. It is still the cornerstone of everything that we desire as human beings, everything you need to embrace as a small business, a solo founder, a startup, a creator. But in 2026, community is going to be even more intentional and interactive. It's all about real dialogue, real value, real importance, real belonging with real people. Formats of community that make people feel like they are part of something. We're going to see a shift from panel talks to open discussions, from single standout solo events to multiple activities in one day with multiple touch points with different people in your community. We're still going to see hybrid events, mixing the online and offline together, but it's going to be even more interactive, creating ways for people to communicate before, during, and after the event. People need third spaces and brands that bring them together in a real connective way. It's a huge trend that delivers value for any size of business. And now for the final trend of the year, which is essentially a mini MBA on what is happening in the world. We have already seen the creator economy go from strength to strength, but 2026 is where creator and brand will completely blur. The creator ecosystem is now a full ecosystem. It went from a value of around 14 billion in 2021 to ending 2025 at around 38 billion. And this growth is 4 times the speed of traditional media. Creators are no longer influencers. They are strategic partners. They're content studios, they're media studios, revenue channels, they're brand consultants. They are no longer post and go. They are deep connection with people that tons of brands are trying to get hold of. They are also perfectly positioned to not only grow themselves, but also grow others. That's why this trend is turning creators into their own businesses, and we'll see an emergence of creator-first organizations and huge spending directly into the creator economy. The combination of all of these trends we've spoken about today has resulted in an entire new ecosystem that you can take advantage of. It's an ecosystem of startups, small brands, solo founders, creators, people with a voice, a personality, a passion, a community that knows that those things are the basis of good business building and understands how to use systems and utilize AI to get more done in less time with less risk. If you are a creator, a freelancer, a founder, or someone who just wants to try something new, there is never a better time to get started. The tools are available to us. The systems, I've built them for you. Grab them from the link in the description. And whilst attention is still fragmented, attention will be got by people who can show our humanness, our value, and our connection. Being smart with these 8 trends will really help you start or grow anything you want to in the next year. So grab your tools, let me know what you're building, subscribe, follow, and tell me what else you want to learn.